bright like the healing rays. 420 patients, we stand as one. Safe access for everyone. Oh, we rise up, lifted higher. Medicine fueled by love and fire. Together we blaze, together we laugh. Patients for safe access. That's
The following production has been brought to you by the Hippie Broadcasting Network, WTHC Radio, and Stoner Records. Now, here's your host, Summer Parker.
That's always fun, isn't it, though? Where'd I go? There I am. Welcome back to our weekly Patients for Safe Access podcast. And hopefully we don't have any technical issues. Last week, there was a couple of them where sound was going in and out and stuff. But hey, you guys hung with us and we figured it out. So this week, my guest is another Oklahoma mom. And her name is Chrissy Darrow, and I'm going to bring her up now. And Chrissy's truth is just one of the crazy. Got applause, applause, applause. Her truth is one of the craziest beginnings, and I'm so happy to have you here as my guest, and just want to give you an opportunity to share your journey with us. You're a canna mom. You're a fierce mom. You're all kinds of great things, actually. You're a million.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So to explain a little bit of my name, many people from growing up that knew me in school, knew me as a child, and that were my family members, they know me as Chrissy Darrow. But my full name is Angela Christina Darrow. So my job, when I go to work, many people know me as Angela. So some people may call me Angie or Angela, and some people may call me Chrissy, and I will answer to all three and then some.
And what is
I wanted to explain a little bit of the confusion with my names before we got started.
What is that first job you're talking about, though?
Well, I enjoy singing country music when I was growing up. I found that to be one of many things that helped when I was a child. My grandfather, I moved in with my grandparents at a very young age after I had put my stepfather in prison for human trafficking. I was 11 years old, and so I had been to the Oklahoma court system and sent this person to what they felt was hard time of 5 years. And of good behavior, I think he was out in less than 3. But during this process of my life, my grandfather and my grandmother raised me, and I started going and singing with Bob Woods at Oklahoma Country Music Association in Del City, Oklahoma. And so a lot of times when I would get up to sing, I was known as Angela Darrow. And I found Angela, I just found it very comforting to be able to get up and share music with other people and enjoy that side of things and life during the process of putting him in court. So at that point, when I graduated high school, I moved to Texas for 30 years. And so before I became an adult, I had, I guess I had already developed a few names. So I'm here today because of my son and my grandson who need this program. And I'm sure that other children in Oklahoma understand where families like mine need legal access to this oil for children. So when I was in Texas, I watched a friend of mine that I had gone to school with advocate for her son, Austin.
Okay.
And through advocating and looking and doing, I started thinking, okay, well, if a doctor can put David on the compassionate program, maybe that will help him. At this time, we lived in 2 different states. I lived in Texas, and they were in the process of setting up the compassionate program. I didn't really know much about it, but I waited a year for David to get in to see one of Central Texas' best neurologists. His name was Dr. Bowick. Dr. Bowick believed and advocate for this medicine, even at Texas's capital, and has fought tremendously hard to get this type of access for kids like my son.
Okay.
So in 2020, David is my son. He was placed on what's called the compassionate program by a Texas neurologist. So upon getting this started, what you see that I sent a picture to you is the oil that he had that was $350. It was extremely expensive, but I was okay having that type of price because there was a doctor involved, and I just felt that, upon moving back home to Oklahoma, who would have thought that doctors at the Children's Hospital can't so much as really speak about this program? So while I had support in Texas from doctors, neurologists, I could not on paper get that type of support here in Oklahoma. So while I was in Texas, the first year and a half that David was on the program, he started being able to go outside and actually feel like he wasn't going to run away. He could be, bless his heart, a bee would be trying to fly up in the air, and David would just start taking off running. He could not handle just the sound of bees or even just little things like that, because the sensory side of the noise was so loud that he would just take off running. And he really wasn't vocal, but he, upon starting the program, I was able to administer what is less than 5% THC. It's made from white widow. The plant white widow is what we use. And this plant has been tremendously helpful for my son, David. So upon starting this program, Texas would have the oil delivered to the house, and David would start the oil at night for bedtime, and he was actually able to sleep and make tremendous improvements with his daily life, and it was documented by a neurologist in Central Texas. It was really, I guess, the thought when we left during COVID, after being in our home for almost 20 years and living in Texas almost 30 years, I never thought that I was going to come home and fight getting support from doctors. And it's a legal thing. It's not that, it's not that we don't support you, Miss Johnson. It's that by law, we can't discuss this with you. Yeah. We can't say it's bad. We can't say it's good. It's, hey, we can't touch this. It's kind of, and I understood and respected that. And so they would document it up here. And they would ask me, well, outside of the outside of the program, when you moved to Oklahoma, well, what did you do? I said, well, at the time that I moved back home, I went to Nakoma Park, Choctaw, and I went into my dispensary and I told him what I actually needed, which was a white widow plant, less than 5% THC, and in oil. And I took what I had from Texas and I showed him. And he's a few weeks later, he was able to come back with the same thing, but I spent $45. And I actually sat in my car and I cried because we had really, at this point, we had struggled with COVID. I couldn't get, doctor recommendation for Oklahoma. They were good people, but it wasn't a neurologist. I couldn't go to Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City and get the support that I truly would like to have, the same support that I would receive from Dr. Bowick in Texas, Central Texas neurology. And I don't get that. And so I kept that same regimen that Dr. Bowick had David on. And the dispensary in Nakoma Park, Choctaw, they were nice enough to make the oil. And so now I left and I moved to Edmond, and we've been here almost 5 years. I don't have to fight anybody about David being on the oil, but he is fixing to be 18. He's had access to this program for 3.5 years. The way things are in Texas are completely different than the way things go here in Oklahoma. And not everybody can do 5% THC. Not everybody can do CBD. Some people like me, being that I have some severe PTSD, I may need my plant to medicate me with more than 5% THC, and I may need more than just oil. So I feel like it's important to have safe access, being able to go into the clinics that I currently go into here in Edmond. I have nothing but good service. It's never been trashy. It's always been considered medicine. It's not walking in there going, hey, I need some smoke. You don't see that.
After your child's medicine,
you don't speak that way. So I'm not going in there. And, when I look at my bud tender, because that's what they are called, they are bud tenders. I want a knowledgeable bud tender that understands why I need white widow, that understands that coming from Texas, I need some oil that's going to help, not just, go get me high or get my son high. It's all about having certain parts of that plant that can help him. And while it could help with his autism and currently really work with his speech delay and his thought processing disorder, off paper, it also helped with his juvenile arthritis. But they couldn't document it in Texas. They couldn't say, hey, he's got juvenile arthritis, this is helping too. They can only document their little line, which was basically the spectrum of autism. What does the plant do for his autism? Because that's what he's placed on the plant for. And there was 3 doctors in the clinic, and the only one that could put him on the oil was the one that specialized, the neurologist that specialized the program for children with autism. And he was actually diagnosed when he was in 2012 by another doctor that was a neurologist. And so you have a team of very knowledgeable doctors, that are in this program that are doing the very best they can for these children. And then you move back home and it's like a brick wall. I can sit and discuss it off paper with the doctors, but they can't legally write it down.
It's crazy that they can't talk to us about the health benefits of it. I mean, that's something that Charles and I talk about that we had hoped would change with like federal rescheduling and stuff like that. Hasn't changed it yet, of course. Let's see.
When my doctor in Central Texas, when Dr. Bowick and I discussed the program of placing David on it, I'll be honest with you. I was really nervous because one, I don't want to medicate with just anything. I don't want to just go somewhere and get something that I don't know that could possibly be laced. My mom, she struggled with so many different things that with her pain, she had to smoke or she medicated behind closed doors. And I didn't want my children doing something like that. My first question to Dr. Bowick was, well, can this lead to him having addiction? Can this lead to him struggling the way my mom has? Because this is my family history. And I threw it all at him and he sat there and he says, no. He says, there is honestly no evidence that it could do this. And he said, going into the Texas state capitol, when he tried to speak to somebody about the program, the door was basically shut in his face. That he was left one of the only ones standing there. And this was in 2020. It was probably about 3 months before COVID started, because he had just started that program. And when he did, I asked him, what was available in Texas. And so to him, he could not sit and say, well, it's helping in this area. I can only do the study in this area because that's what it's paid for and about. So what I did is I had homeschooled David. I took him out and started homeschooling him. After the SLC program graduated him, they wanted to throw him in a regular room with a 40 kids in a classroom of regular kids that, and it was very hard. He tried that for 6 months and it did not work. So I started homeschooling him. And upon homeschooling him, we did the oil. And what I did is I asked everybody to document, hey, David started this oil today. Can we start documenting what his grades are? Can we start documenting, the change that David is honestly making outside of what Dr. Bowick can do? And I did. I created a group. I created a group with other people that were following his progress. And so I had that. And upon moving to Oklahoma, I did not realize that I was going to bump into a big brick wall coming back home, trying to find that same medical support with this program, because they did not look at it the same. They're like, well, just anybody can get a card in Oklahoma. This, because you can carry 3 whatever ounces. I don't even know what it is, because you know what? While others may need what's on the back of that card, my son don't need that much. Right. My son don't need 3 ounces a week. My son don't need marijuana that is smokable. He does just fine with the oil. And there are families like me that may need a little more than the oil. I may need a little more than the oil, but I don't sit around and smoke that around my children, because it's not what I want to do. I may need that extra THC. So I have a household full of myself, and upon watching my son have this oil, I did sit and was finally able to talk to a doctor who was under my grandson. He is nonverbal, and he has huge sensory to where I could not even do dishes without him falling to the floor to the sound of a dish. You know, he's currently in like 6 different services, and they started documenting everything. But the day that he started the oil, which his name is Christian, I asked Therapy Links to please document these changes for Christian, because I can't figure out what type of sensory is going on with him. We're taking him to audiologists. We're telling doctors who they don't shame us for having him on the program. They've never shamed us. They've never treated us wrong. They just tell us I can't get involved.
Right.
And that really sucks.
Yeah, no, it does. It absolutely does. So your grandson, do you mind if I ask like how old he is?
My grandson is fixing to be 7 in the first week of April. And so
oh, good.
He did, he started, upon coming to Oklahoma, we started him on this program trying to do the medicine, because nothing was changing for him. Excuse me.
You're okay.
Nothing was changing for Christian. We could not so much as, well, okay, here's a fine example. When my husband sneezes, just a regular sneeze, my grandson falls to the floor and screams bloody murder like somebody is really attacking him. And it's either a flight or fight response. And this is something that there's been days and weeks that we've had to pick when we're going to do dishes, when we're going to cook, or when we're going to do as far as what's going on, because he's not the only person in the house with disabilities, but he is nonverbal. His disabilities are a lot more severe. And while doctors are helping us and beside us, they can't get involved. They can't get involved. So what I do with my grandson is we tried a couple of medicines, and that seemed to increase the flight or fight sounds around him. He would try different things, and it would literally send him into the floor crying. And so we went and took him to his neurologist, and he had known David and what we had done in Texas, and he could tell us off paper that while he supported the program for children like Christian and David, that he could not write it, he could not discuss it, but that he was okay keeping Christian as a patient if Christian was on the program, because not all doctors can keep the kids as patients. So I've found a little support. And Christian is now taking a pharmaceutical along with his oil. And I can tell you that this has made a complete difference. His ABA, they're able to document everything going on. He currently has an appointment with another audiologist that's okay with him being on the oil. So I'm feeling like I'm getting some wiggle room. And I take the stuff that I showed you, I take it up there and I show them. I say, look, I know that you see what you call, dispensaries on every corner. This is what they have inside the dispensaries that save my son and my grandson's life. See this little green thing? That is that's what they give you from the Texas Compassionate Program.
Mhm.
And when they give you the dosage, it's probably like maybe 0.2. So it's not a very high dosage of oil, but it does
Yeah.
help him. It helps both of the boys. And what I've managed to do is come to Oklahoma. And now that I live up in Edmond, I have managed to find 2 dispensaries that do make the oil, the 1-to-1 CBD slash THC that
Mhm.
the boys do get. And I'm very thankful for the program. I'm thankful to not have to sit in a corner and hide myself, because that's really scary. But I'm more thankful that this oil exists and
Yeah.
people can legally have access to what helps these children with seizures, with their speech delays. I couldn't take my son outside the house because it was too much sensory noises outside, the sound of cars, the sound of bees, the sound of daily life
Yeah.
affected him too. And upon starting the program, I was able to take him to parks, and it was the All Abilities Park in Round Rock, Texas, that I started taking him to. He was the first child in Williamson County that started the compassionate program. They came to our house. They documented a documentary, which I sent you the documentary to that. They did a couple of pictures, and
Mhm.
there at that point in time, there was not very many children that had access to this program, especially in Texas. But
Yeah.
now we're 5 years down the road, and it's been something that has truly helped David. He doesn't need it every day. I don't make him take it every day. But should he say, "Hey, Mom, I'm not doing well today," I
Mhm.
can give him some, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that daily. He doesn't need his oil on a daily basis. And it's not like these children are sitting around and abusing the program.
Can Yeah, or cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve said he needs to get him some 1-to-1 White Widow. So is this oil that he's taking, is it a 1-to-1 White Widow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you want to tell people where they can find the product, that's up to you. Or we can message Pops afterwards and tell him where to go get him some.
So you can, on a 1-to-1 program, what I use I go to my weed maps and I go to Get Baked. I've used, hang on, I'll look for it. So, because I've got nothing but good, knowledgeable bud tenders that know that I'm not just buying for myself, I'm buying for children. And they take that very serious. They take it serious that we're using their products for our babies. And I
Mhm.
think that it's important that our governors know that there are people like us that are good, hardworking people that depend on this program for us, for our children. And so, who
Mhm.
I use is I go to Get Baked Weed Dispensary in Edmond. They are the ones that have truly helped me probably for almost 4 years. Um, I've used the other dispensary that I use is called Superfire. Superfire is located in Choctaw, and Superfire just opened up a store in Edmond. And so the young lady in there, when I went in, the first thing I asked her is, do you carry this kind of oil? If you do not carry this kind of oil, can you have this made by somebody that has their license and is following the law? I want somebody that's following the law, that's making my son's medicine. And I feel like this is very important things. And I've always, any dispensary that I have ever walked into has been more professional than a Walgreens, sometimes a CVS. They have been just as professional as other pharmacies that may be pharmaceutical pharmacies. Okay, my plant pharmacies, they have been just as knowledgeable, clean. They treat it like medicine, and just like walking into a regular pharmacy that sells pharmaceuticals, they are just as clean, and I really appreciate that. I want that.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and whenever we come back from that break, we will pick up talking about the pharmacies, dispensaries that we do trust, and even our AG's comments about that type of stuff, maybe. So we'll touch on that shortly. Take us out. Happy for a break.
Nugs of many sizes, munchies, trippy friends, and stash jars are some of the gifts you'll find here at lovenugbuds.com for a unique gift for your 420 friend. Love Nug Buds will have what you want in the end.
Are you searching for affordable products and great rosin? Well, look no further. Whether you're keeping it simple or going all out, we've got you covered. Sunny's for everyday deals, and Hash RX for that premium fire. Sunny's keeps your stash affordable, giving you value every single day. When you want the best, Hash RX. Oklahoma's premium live rosin. No solvents, no shortcuts. Affordable or premium, the choice is yours. Find us at Oklahoma dispensaries.
Welcome to the shop where the colors come alive. Collectors dream and memories shine like fireworks in the sky. Stacked to the ceiling with stories in light. Magic in the air when the toys play at night. Robots spinning, Game Boys flashing, action figures strike a pose. Barbie's got her sunglasses on, G.I. Joe's in hero mode. Arcade lights and vintage signs, glowing warm and bright. Everybody smiles when the toys play at night. Race cars roaring down the aisle like thunder and chrome. Furbies waking up like they just found home. Every shelf's a treasure map, everything feels right. Step into the wonder when the toys play at night.
All right, listen up, you dirty hippies. Have you ever stepped out of the shower, still felt like you wrestled a skunk, lost, and then rolled around in a pizza box? Yeah, that's because you ain't using Seed Squatch soap. Out deep in the misty forest where the pine trees are tall and the air is fresh, the legend of the Seed Squatch roams free. That big hairy legend figured something out a long, long time ago. If you're gonna smell like a beast, you might as well smell like a good one. Seed Squatch soap is packed with Bigfoot-level scents like Thunder Fang Pineapple, Chocolate Banana Mountain King, Squatch's Secret Gardenia, and Wild Blade Lemongrass. These aren't your grandma's soap bars, man. These are rugged, legendary, forest-focused, scented bombs designed to turn your shower into a rock concert for your nose. Every bar is crafted for the wild ones, the rebels, the stoners, the legends. So when you step out of that shower, you don't smell like regret and yesterday's burrito. You smell like a mystical forest rock god. That's right. So do yourself a favor, wash your hairy ass the legend way. Get yourself some Seed Squatch soap, because life is too short to smell like a regular human. Seed Squatch soap. Clean like a legend, smell like a myth. Welcome back to Patients for Safe Access. I'm the hippie, and during that commercial break, I thought about how many people are out there just trying to feel normal again. This isn't about trends, it's about healing, truth, and protecting each other. And I'm honored to be here with you. Now back to Summer and Patients for Safe Access.
And we are just as honored to be here with the Hippie Broadcasting Network. If you have not hit like and subscribe yet, make sure you do so on his platform and mine both, please. And we are here with my guest today, Angela Christine, as I'll introduce you for the reintroduction. And we're going to call you Chrissy today because we became friends.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Chrissy, absolutely. I wanted to kind of touch real quick on what brought us together. And I feel like what that is that our governor has put our program under threat in Oklahoma. And so for families like yours, with your son, with your grandson, with your own needs with medical cannabis, kind of tell me what that meant for you whenever you heard him talk about wanting to repeal this program.
That Governor Kent, with all due respect to all the work that you do here in Oklahoma, and Governor Abbott, you in Texas, there are people like me that we abide by the law. We believe in the law. We want people to abide by the law so we can get safe patient access and know that it is not going to be laced with fentanyl. Know that it's not going to be laced with something that is going to kill our society. But when you talk about shutting down this program completely, you're talking about removing all access of a life-saving medicine, a daily life-saving medicine that helps my son, my grandson. And it's not just me that it helps. It's the children. And I'm asking you to stop putting fear in people like me, making us not sleep at night, because you know what happens when you remove this program completely? It's not for me. It's not about your money. It's not about your hard work. It is truly about how this program has honestly saved my son and my grandson's daily life. Their whole daily life has changed. And it would not have changed for people like Dr. Bowick in Texas. Manchac was where he got his first oil, and it was called the Texas Original. It was located in Manchac, Texas. It was a little bit south of Austin. So they, having this type of access and just yanking it from the kids, it's not fair. And it's not fair for us to have to do it under somebody's nose. I don't want to have to do it under somebody's nose. I want to continue this program, and I want to continue it following the laws that have been set before me. I'm a person that follows the laws. I don't want to have to fight for this anymore. I understand that people have taken advantage of the program. I understand that there is decisions that have been made about the program you wish were different. But this program has been a life-saving program that has helped my grandson, and it has helped me. It has helped thousands of people who struggle with PTSD. And it's one of the reasons that I fight for our first responders to have access to safe medical cannabis. I think that it is very important that our firefighters, our police officers, that they have the right to medicate the way they want, whether it is by pharmaceutical meds, whether it is by the plant. My life-saving officer struggled with PTSD. My life-saving officer is probably completely against not going out and throwing, he's not for getting all high and being stupid. He is an officer that struggled 100% with saving people like me on the job. And people like him should be able to have safe access to cannabis. My ex-husband was in law enforcement. We both worked at the Oklahoma County Jail. We both struggled with PTSD. But guess what? When we have our local heroes taking their lives on certain pharmaceutical meds, or maybe they're afraid to reach out and say, hey, I would like to try this oil. It's not even about sitting down and having the plant. Let them have some one-to-one oil, because it is a life-saving program that everybody should have access to in every state.
I couldn't agree more. I know that Texas does allow some of their law enforcement and stuff, because we went down there for a concert 2 years ago, October, and we were having breakfast, and there was a couple of officers sitting there having their breakfast, and I had just went to a shop in Dallas and went and bought some Delta 8 product to bring it home to have it independently tested to see if it was truly Delta 8 or not. And so I went up to these guys and I'm like, hey, let me approach you. This is who I am. This is what I'm here for. This is why I'm stopping in your state today, type of a thing. And they were telling me that they have almost like not like an armory type of a thing, but where the officers can all go and buy surplus supplies and stuff like that, similar to. And so he was talking about CBD oil and stuff like that they can get from there. But I was talking to him about testing stuff and making sure that it's what it says it's supposed to be and those types of things. But I thought it was interesting that Texas does allow, like, their law enforcement and stuff access to, CBD and stuff for as far behind the curve as they are on medical. I thought that was a good plus.
Yes, and I do believe that somebody in their legislation just recently has removed that right. So whatever's going on in Texas, they have removed, and it's not just about removing the nasty stuff out of the gas stations. Apparently, they are removing things on the shelves that are fully THC. I didn't even realize you could get THC fully on the shelf in Texas, because before I left, we had access to the oil. I have MS. And so I was placed on the Texas Compassionate Program by a Texas neurologist who supported everything. And then upon moving to Oklahoma, my neurologist could, at the MS clinic here in Oklahoma City, cannot even so much as speak to me about my program. But she is aware. I tell them to document it. But I started the program too, with my MS, and I don't want the program to go away, because it really has helped me. But it's just going so much deeper than me. It affects the kids who really need the program, that aren't just, everybody has the right to medicate differently. They have the right to medicate of their choice. And I just think that it's important to not remove this program.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're doing the rally April 17th, the Protect Patient Rights rally. And it's so vitally important that day, to have people come down and speak at the rally, share your testimony of what medical cannabis has done for you in the state of Oklahoma, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a patient, whatever it is. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. we will be out there, and then we're going to march our little butts over to the Connors building to the OMMA because they're the ones who are, of course, tasked with regulating this industry. And I want to be able to have some, poster boards up there that says "do better" because that's just my big thing with them. It's just do better. So
Yes. Yes. I started my program in Oklahoma. I actually came to this program from Texas because I was diagnosed with MS in 2019. And so this has really changed my life. And being able to have more of an opportunity to use the program a little bit differently than what Texas had it. I really appreciate being able to have access to the plant. No matter, if I want to grow my medicine in my home, you know what? Have access to where it's not, around the kids, where it's not around people that, have some respect of people around you if you're going to light up or if you're going to medicate, however you want to discuss it. For me, I don't drive. Sometimes if I do drive, it's damn sure not when I'm medicated or high. I just don't feel like that's okay to do. And I felt this way long before marijuana was ever legal. How you get behind the wheel, no matter if you're withdrawing from SSRIs, no matter if you're withdrawing or taking pharmaceuticals, you know what? It's not okay to sit behind the wheel and smoke a joint either. But treat us equally.
Mm-hmm.
There are people like us that medicate and use the program safely at home, behind closed doors, and it's respectful.
Yep, absolutely. I medicate in my home 98% of the time. The other 2% of the time, I'm in one other location. Like, that's it. So, like, I don't go out there and, light up a joint walking down the sidewalk and stuff like that. I mean, my boyfriend does sometimes, but
yeah, my husband supports the program. My husband fully supports the program, but he does not use the program. So while he has a card and I educate him on what the boys use, he doesn't have any of that in his system. He doesn't like the way that helps him. Although he does things differently, but he doesn't treat me any different because I like the program. I don't, as long as I'm not sitting around and lighting up in front of the kid, he does the driving, and because he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drive. I don't really drive. He drives. And what's really crazy is he doesn't use the program, but he does have a card, so he can go in there and help me get our son's medicine and be completely involved in what David is taking. And I just think that's real important, in our marriage. I feel like communication's important. Hey, hon, you can't go into the dispensary without this license, but because you've had 6 surgeries and because you used to climb, these tall buildings with your job and you could qualify with the card, I would like for you to be involved in going in there and looking at what they can have and being involved in the conversations. But while he has a card, he has never gone in. He doesn't go into a dispensary. And part of that is that it's the smell of it is too strong. And so for me, while I do things differently and he does differently, it all works out for the kids and it all works out safely because it really is about safe access.
Yeah, my not husband yet, but one of these days will be, fiance's dad. He lived in Oklahoma just temporarily for like a year and a half or so. And we were able to get him off of like a 40-year regimen of opiates with a very small 5 milligram dose gummy. and like there were things that he was able to come back out and like do again that he hadn't done in 10 years or more when we were treating him medicinally here in the state of Oklahoma. Well, some things happened and he, got diagnosed with another cancer. He has since relocated and stuff like that. And I wish he would have continued on the medical program, but I understand why he didn't. You know what I mean? I'll just say it that way because that choice is his, and respectfully so. But, we're great here in Oklahoma with using just a low dose gummy, and he was might smoked. He never lit up a joint, would never.
Yeah, and see, now for me, I have MS and I have brain zaps, and I've had multiple yearly MRIs where they have given me a lot of diazepam, and it makes me jerk to the point. And they finally told me about 6 months ago that unless they really need to, they can't give me any more of that stuff because pharmaceuticals are not helping me. Mm-hmm. So if I need to get an MRI for the MS because I do have lesions, I usually use a very, very strong indica. I change my clothes before, this is what I do. I purposely make everything as strong as I can because A, I'm not driving. B, I have a lot of anxiety going into a claustrophobic little area for the MRIs where my face is covered. And so I need something strong that's going to help me. And with him being the driver, I'm thankful that being able to move back home and coming back home to having, access to this program has allowed me to have stronger cannabis medicine than what we've had in Texas. Now that has truly helped my MS. It's helped me be able to try to walk. It's the dosage of THC. I don't need 100% THC 3 times a month or 3 times a day. I don't need 100% of this or that. But what I do need is strong medicine enough that if I am having a lot of spasms in my bones, if I am having a bad day with brain zaps, that I can still have access to whether it's complete medicine, whether it's anything that Oklahoma has had to offer has been something that has truly helped me on a natural pharmaceutical. It's the program has helped me, and it's also helped me kind of keep the MS symptoms. Yes. And so I do see a doctor at the MS clinic, but she can't discuss, she can't discuss that with me. And she does ask, every 6 months when I go in, am I still, meds have changed? Do I still do? Outside of that, she can't discuss anything else that has to do with that.
Right. So Jeff Havard asked, he says, so what do you think that we can do to make sure medical marijuana stays available to people who need it?
So I honestly believe, you know what? I believe that the program itself does not need to change. I believe that there are some guidelines that weren't followed, and to stop allowing just anybody to overthrow our growers. We have a lot of growers. We have growers that take care of our dispensaries. There is no reason to sell a bunch of property outside the people outside our state, or even stomp on the program. I think that it boils down with laws from OMMA and our current governor. He wants to shut down the program. How about keep the program open, keep the current laws that you have as far as allowing the patient to have safe access But if you're not okay with having a dispensary on every corner, then how about limit not just dispensaries on every corner, but let's limit the pharmaceutical industry on every corner as well.
Right.
And
Yes, the
let's
wall.
see how that helps our people. But he asked a specific
Yep.
question. And to be honest with you, the program itself has helped our kids. I think, they have allowed 2 doctors to sign off on the program for both, the price is kind of hefty, but if I'm going to pay, doggone almost $700 after it's done and said and done with, and I use the same people, the same program, the same doctors, their questions are not cheap. Their questions when it comes to asking about, well, why does your kids need access and how this goes on? It's very, very deep. It's very important. And they don't just act as people on the street. These are people that they are doctors that are the ones that are denying or approving your child's access. Don't do away with them. Don't do away with them, because we need those people.
We do. We do. Absolutely need the doctors for that, for recommendations. So we have another comment up here. It says, why can doctors talk about pharmaceuticals and not medical marijuana? Well,
I think that it boils down. Here's a funny thing. In Texas, my neurologist, he could discuss marijuana. He could discuss the cannabis program. He stood in line at the at the Texas State Capitol and advocate for the program. And at some point, while the doctors didn't listen to him, there were at point in time when they did start listening to the doctors, and they do still document this program. And what's funny is in Texas, our doctors are heavily involved. And I just wish it could be that way here in Oklahoma. I really do. I wish that our neurologists could be involved just like our neurologists in Oklahoma could be involved, just like the neurologists in Texas could be involved. And their program, if you ever take a look at their program, it's ran by DPS.
Gotcha. Department of Public Safety.
Yeah.
So what area of Texas were you in? I have to ask as a local Texas-hearted girl too.
So I started out in Williamson County, Texas, out by Round Rock. I did live in Floresville at one time. But when I lived in Round Rock for probably almost probably about 15, 16 years.
As a little kid, I was in the South Texas area, in like Kemah, Houston, Pasadena, that area. And to this day, if I get around someone that has like a deep Texas drawl to them, I'll pick that up again, just right away, and have it again for another month or two later.
Yes. I had some really supportive doctors and supportive people for this program, but Dan Patrick, with all due respect, he was part of the problem. And I just don't know why. I don't understand it. I would really like to ask what his thoughts are about what they have done in the last week, in the changes that they have made. The compassionate program, I don't think that I think that for Texas, you can't just grow your own. I like to be able to grow my own in Oklahoma. Now, I don't do it because I'm currently renting a house, and that's, not okay to do in my lease. And so, and having that right to know that when I go ahead and purchase my own home, that I can create my own, medicine that may help me. There's going to be a day that I'm going to have trouble walking because I'm doing every bit of the steps I can, but my MS is really hard to manage sometimes. And I just want to be able to have him understand and be compassionate about people like us.
Absolutely.
I get that people are, rolling down, whatever avenue with a joint in their hand. And that's a decision on them. Hey, that's a decision on them. And I show no hate against people like that. But hey, there's people like me that we do need this medicine. We need it for our children. We need it for safe access for human trafficking victims. Okay. My PTSD is horrible. It's not okay to have to hide something that is saving my life on a daily basis. It's not like I sit around and use it all the time. But being able to have access to hemp, being able to have access to THC, the side that's not, crap that you buy in the gas stations. I'm able to go into a dispensary and buy what helps me knowing that it's safe.
Yeah. Charles says, why has our Congress or senators not responded to the governor's state of the state? That's a good question, Charles.
Well,
why haven't they? Oh, well, sip that tea.
Come November.
That's right. Some of them will be in a new seat in November, he says. So
yeah, I tell you what, Governor Abbott, I think that he cares about kids. I think that he really cares about people. But I also think that there is a lot of decisions that lie in his area, and he's not sure what the correct ones are to make. So it's kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. And I try to think that way because nothing really hurts me worse than to be up here, have access to something that has truly helped me, knowing that there's no way in hell that I could take that to Texas, back to a place I once lived and feel comfortable enough to not go to jail. That's not going to happen because they look at that as criminal. Whatever they look at that, there's no way in hell that I would ever cross the state line with my medicine. Like, I don't even travel anymore. I won't travel.
So I made a huge mistake one time. We were going to Arizona to go see his family, and of course going through Texas out of Oklahoma, right? And I had taken my sister used to ride with me all the time in my car, and we used to be in sales, but we're not anymore, and we don't ride together ever. But anyways, long story short, she left some product tubes in my glove box that had some pre-rolls in them. And I didn't even think two bits about it. I get in my glove box, never, you know what I mean? And we were coming back through Texas, and I got pulled over. And I'm like flipping down my glove box to go and like look for my insurance and stuff. And I see these pre-roll tubes in there. And instantly I just like shoved the glove box door back up. And I'm like, I don't have my insurance on me, sir. You'll have to look it up. But it was so bad whenever I got pulled over because I was so scared. He asked me to come over to his vehicle with him. I go to his vehicle with him, not even realizing that like I still have a gram of concentrate on me, on my persons too, in my little side bag thing. And he's got a little canine in the back. And I'm thinking, this is great. I'm going to jail in Texas for a gram of wax and a pre-roll. I was like, I'm never doing this again. So I decided then I would never, ever drive from Oklahoma to Texas with cannabis again.
Nope. And you want to know something for me? I go and I go to the dispensary. I have, there's several that I will buy from. One is Capital Bank, Midwest City. And then I used to go to the lettuce bar, and then I'd go to Superfire. And then for the last few years, I started doing Get Baked because I could go in, and every dispensary I ever walked into, they knew that I was buying for my child, and they took that very serious. So I was always given, the bud tenders that knew a lot about the terps. They knew a lot about the percentage of what was most important about the plant versus, the crap that may not be good for them. I want something that's going to be low dosage. The terps have to be good and clean, and I would like for their knowledge to understand that it's needed, not just for an adult, but a child. Not all adults understand what strain that they can use because not every strain is for everybody. So when I go to Get Baked Dispensary in Edmond, I have come across the bud tenders have been very knowledgeable about what I need as far as for the medicine for the kids. And then they have opened a Superfire up here, which is a second store to the one in Choctaw. And I've been really thankful for that. And one thing that I've asked them with all of this going on, where do your growers come from? Because I don't want to support somebody that's, all that crap that the attorney general's posting and people that are not following the law and whatever that group of people are. I don't want my money supporting that. I don't want my medicine coming from people like that. I want to know that when you are growing my son's medicine, that you are doing it with the law and the laws that are set forth. And I have never found anybody outside that was doing differently. In fact, they said that their farmers are usually their own. If I ever want to know more about their farmers, I can ask any questions I want to. And I really appreciate having that access and having the conversations, because what's going on does affect people like me. I didn't sleep. I'm sitting there awake at night wondering if my son's medicine is going to be cut off. And I've cried over this. This does affect people like us. And I've cried over that. And so I've gone into the dispensaries, and I've, the ones that I have shopped with since I've been here. And I've asked them, what is the most important to you? Do your farmers come from all this crap I'm seeing on TV? Like, are those type people growing my medicine? And I have been told by every dispensary that I have visited that those type of people are not growing our medicine. Not at Get Baked. They're not growing that medicine at Capital Dank. They're not growing, all them farms that you're busting and whatever you're doing. When I start asking people that I'm getting my medicine from, are you part of that? Because if you are, I don't want no part of you.
Right.
And absolutely they're not.
But it's going to take patience holding people to standards like that to weed out some of these bad players. So Charles is reminding me here gently. Love that gentle nudge. So we had a guest on, Corey Lowe, a few months back from Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. Or no, sorry, she's not from Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. She's from Georgia. Sorry. The Yolanda and Angela are the ones from Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. But anyways, so Corey was telling us a story about legislators in Colorado that were actually, in Georgia that were flying from Georgia to Colorado to get things like CBD oil and stuff like that their kids were needing, because of the fact that legislation hadn't caught up to the needs of the kids yet. And they were doing it, for the patients.
I tell you what, my best friend was an advocate for her son, Austin. In fact, we went to school together. And the more that I learned about how the oil helped him, and then my own child had disabilities. You know, David was born a few years after Austin was, and so I started learning how and what I needed to do for my son. And I thank God that I never had to go behind closed doors to get his medicine, because by the time this happened, it was legal and it was able for my doctor to be involved. And CPS was, you know, if your doctor is involved and you're getting your script from the doctor, there should be no reason CPS, period.
Right. Yeah. That's an issue
So,
here in our state.
yeah, I've never had to go behind closed doors to get medicine for my kids.
Yeah.
That's just, would I, if I really had to do something like that, I pray to God that I don't. I pray to God every day that this person, our governor, cannot just completely strip this program after allowing this program. I hope you don't take it away from us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it would take a lot for them to take it away from us. There's a lot of factors that would have to go into play. Lonnie Paxton's office has said that, you know, he doesn't foresee putting it back to a vote of the people. Wish Kyle Hilbert's office would say the same thing, but they're not coming out and saying that quite yet.
Thank you.
But no, there's people that need to hear about these truths about medical cannabis and how it's, you know, the kids started this program. The compassionate use started Oklahoma's program just like it started Texas's program. Our vote was a compassionate vote of the people for medical cannabis to help people. And so if you're going to take something away from 300,000+ patients,
yeah,
man,
please don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we need to protect our patient rights. Rally April 17th.
Absolutely.
11 a.m. Be there if you can. If you can't be there and you want to prepare something on video or something for us to play that day, we can. So we want to hear everybody's voices, everyone's truths, and we want to make them listen to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being our guest today. Is there anything else that you can think of that you wanted to add that we haven't touched on?
I think for me, just know that you're not alone. You know, I think that it's important that everybody should have the right to medicate in their own home, including our first responders. Not everybody drives high.
That's right. My buddy Bleezy supports that movement to get first responders access to medical cannabis as well. So,
Absolutely.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you next week for our show with Representative JJ Humphreys, and we'll see how that goes. The elephant in the room. That's his talk.
And just want to say thank you, Senator Paxton, for hopefully, supporting the program, or at least supporting not shutting it down.
Yeah, absolutely. For respecting the fact that the people have already voted for this. We already did this. We already voted it. Like, yes. We want this. I don't care what you want. We want this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me on your show.
That's right. Much love, one love, and we will catch you guys later.
Thank you.
Take us out, hippie.
Shining bright like the healing rays. 420 patients, we stand as one. Safe access for everyone. Oh, we rise up, lifted higher. Medicine fueled by love.